Welcome to Super Media Runners. We bring the media to you. My name is Junior.
I'm Jarek, and we run the media to you.
What? Didn't I say that?
No, you said we bring the media to you.
All right. Let me do it again.
Super Media Runners!
Welcome to Super Media Runners. We run the media to you. I'm Junior.
And I'm Jarek.
Today, I am going to start off this part 2 of the holiday tier list. The first part, we had a good run. First 10. I'm going to bring down an additional 10, and we'll rank them as we go. So, the 11th movie, or I guess the first movie I'm going to be talking about is The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a classic. I know some people would argue that it's more of a Halloween movie than a Christmas/holiday movie, but Nightmare and Christmas are in the same title, so yeah, to each their own. But I'm sure everybody knows what this movie is about. It's a childhood movie. Stop motion is great. Story is great. The music, the songwriting's great. Just everything about it is amazing. Um, what do you say, Jake?
I'd say this probably started this probably gave a lot of business to a bunch of hot topics all over the world. This is the style is pretty evident. It's pretty much iconic at this point. I can't imagine us doing less than an S tier for this type of movie. I mean, so what do you think? An S tier?
Really? I would actually put it in an A tier. It's a great movie. I'm not gonna lie, but we're talking about holiday movies, and I would just put it in A tier just because it is a Halloween/holiday movie. So like the story of it is more leaned towards Halloween. I mean, it does have Santa Claus, it does have Christmas in it, but just because of that, I'd probably put it down to A. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for what we're ranking, I would just put it in A.
I think that's the thing. I guess you're right because it is kind of cheating that because most of the movie is about like Halloween, but it does kind of have that like the spirit of Christmas of what Christmas is all about. It's not about
Yeah,
well,
not
it doesn't
cheat
even
on
have to do about that. It's about Jack's identity problem. He just fucking goes into like a different holiday
it.
dimension and realizes that oh hey, we could do Christmas, even though he's the Pumpkin King. He's like, oh no, I want to do Christmas now. It's something new, something different. Some people will never understand. So I don't. I guess the whole idea of oh yeah, conformity and all this stuff is crazy, but yeah. Overall, though, as a film in general, animated wise, it is one of the best. I will
Yeah,
say that definitely makes it S tier
yeah,
material. So
of course.
if we definitely want to talk like, but as far as Christmas, yeah, I guess A tier is the best we can do with it. So yeah, let's
Alrighty.
let's go to the next one.
Next one is a classic. I've only seen this movie. I discovered it about 2 years ago. This shit is hilarious, and it is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. God bless his soul. It is absolutely funny, hilarious, and I will watch it every year for many years to come. What do you think? I personally, I would put it in S, double S, but
Uh,
we only got S, so I put it in S tier.
I would say that it's uh it's definitely very like classic comedy. And before we talk more about Chevy Chase, I will say that he's alive and he's not a nice guy. I mean, we can post a couple places where people talk about how he's not a good person to work with. I mean,
Nah, yeah, I heard that too, but just if I'm just looking at the movie, it is hilarious. Man, that guy is funny.
he makes it work. I don't think anybody else could have made it work. I think it was this movie was written by John Hughes. Very just the cast alone and the music and the score and then the production value. I thought this kind of movie. It's a once in a lifetime. It's always going to be funny. It's consistently funny, and it does kind of give kind of that that I think that's what put National Lampoon on the map. You know, when you think of National Lampoon's movies, you think of, you know, Christmas Vacation, and you think of Vacation, where they, you know,
Wally World.
driving around. So I think, yeah, I'll agree with you here. It's definitely S tier material, especially if you're putting it next to The Grinch. So I'll say that much.
All right, cool. All right, changing gears here. Next is Santa Claus 3. Skipped over 1. We'd already did 2. Now it's Santa Claus 3. So this is the one with Jack Frost. He becomes Santa Claus. You know, Tom Hanks' character, Santa's supposed to
Tim
be
Allen.
Tim Allen. What the fuck I say? Tom Hanks. Woody.
Yeah. To be fair, he's in Christmas movies too, so it's fine.
Yeah. So Tim Allen, excuse me. You know, trying to get back his mantle, his coat, and you know, it's a funny movie. It's not up there with the first one or the second movie, but I just decided to throw a curveball and just put the third one in there. Personally, I'd probably put this B, maybe C. What do you say?
I want to say C, and this is very much like, this gives off, because it's the whole point of it is it's basically a Wonderful Life, where oh, I wish I wasn't Santa Claus. That's the whole premise. I honestly have to take, Santa Claus's side on this. This movie, it really tried to get me to convince me that he is ungrateful for being Santa Claus. But really, okay, your wife's pregnant, we get it, but you're fucking Santa Claus. You still have to work your ass off with all these elves and still deliver all these presents and deal with her shitty fucking freaking in-laws. Like, how's that fair?
Yeah.
I get it. If you're a blue collar worker and you got to deal with this shit, yeah, you'd be kind of, of course it'd feel like you're ungrateful. But this is literally, you are Santa Claus. You are
Right.
literally talking to Mother Nature, Father Time, the Easter Bunny, fucking the Tooth Fairy, Sandman, and it's just, this Jack Frost character comes out of nowhere. But it's like, okay, but how am I supposed to feel bad for, how am I supposed to, look down on Tim Allen's Santa Claus if the last 2 movies he's been a pretty competent Santa Claus, and now I'm supposed to believe that, oh yeah, he's, he's just, he thinks he has it this easy, but now what if he wasn't Santa Claus? Oh, he must feel ungrateful. To be honest, he wasn't even supposed to be Santa Claus. It was all an accident, and now it's this whole time thing, and I just don't really agree with it. I just think, come on, give this guy a break. He's dealing with a lot of crap. Of course, he's going to get upset because, his in-laws are on his ass, and, he's got to deal with this Jack Frost guy. So it's like, he's working a 24/7 job. Don't fuck with him. So, yeah, overall, I thought this was the weakest Santa Claus movie. Santa Claus 1 and 2 are fairly strong compared to this one. This one, it gives us a little bit more of what we want, but at the same time, it's like, it kind of lost its steam. So I think C is definitely a good run for this.
Yeah. Just to add another note, obviously the first and second one were great, were much better than this. But I'm kind of happy that they made a third one, just because I don't know, I just enjoy sequels. I know there's a point where all right, you should stop with the movie, stop with the sequels, but I just like things to continue. So I don't know. I'm happy that they made the third one, but overall, it's under the first 2. So yeah, I'd probably put in C. That's a good place for it. All right, baby. One of my favorites, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And my boy Sinbad.
And my boy Sinbad, Shazam or Kazam. Yeah, no, this is another hilarious, over-the-top movie. A lot of quotes. I quote a lot from this movie. We do. And it's just a special place in my heart. I remember we used to have the cassette tape for it, or the VHS tape for it, and we would watch it every Christmas, and now we still do. So, it's funny, the action's good, it's hilarious. So I'd probably put this up there. I'd probably put it in S tier, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think S tier is definitely the way to go with this. This was directed by Brian Levant, but it was produced by Chris Columbus, who is also has another movie on this tier list here. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, very unlikely comedy duo, and I'm just surprised that they haven't done a movie since this movie. And it's just for us, this is such a like for so many people, this is such an unfamiliar Christmas movie to walk
Oh
in
my
through.
god.
When you think Christmas movies, you don't think Jingle All the Way. So when this came out in 1996, the year after we were born, and then we watched it on VHS. I want to say between early 2000s and then the rest of our lives, and every Christmas afterwards. Probably gonna wish it this Christmas. It's so fucking funny. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it just works. It just fucking works. And I don't want to. I don't think that this movie did a great job in creating this whole idea of Christmas is all about consumerism and we're all drowning in it, because clearly this just goes with the cheap humor, the very elaborate set pieces. I mean, I want to tell you right now, this movie's budget, it was 75 million. I bet you 70 million of that was from the fucking crazy winter festival that they had at the end. Like, there's no way that the Turbo Man suit alone cost at least a quarter of the fucking movie's budget, and especially because they had to get Arnold Schwarzenegger fitted into it. So it's just it's an incredible, ridiculous, and just hilarious movie. And I don't think we're ever going to see an earnest movie like Jingle All the Way ever again. It's just so fucking crazy, batshit, stupid, insane. And it works. It just all works because it's such a simple storyline. But yeah, I will say this is definitely worth watching the full 89 minutes. I have no reason why we shouldn't put this other than a S tier.
Yes, S tier it is. I would actually this one and National Lampoon's Christmas is those two are like the funniest out of all movies actually. But yeah, I put it S tier. It's legendary. So next we got Jack Frost. So it's a little classic, main character, father, he's a musician, goes out to on tour, or not tour, to record a song or something, and turns back, wants to be home with his family on Christmas, and dies, and just magically resurrects himself into a snowman, which is funny. A funny concept, but it's a wholesome, weird kind of holiday movie, but it works. I know it's supposed to parallel with other kind of animations with what it's called, Jack Frost too. No, the fucking
I was gonna say, for those who remember like old rental like plate, like being there for when you had to rent movies, Family Video, Blockbuster. If you ever try to find the movie Jack Frost, you will see the one with like the snowman that looks like a skeleton and it's like freaks you out. That is Jack Frost, the horror movie about a killer snowman. This is Jack Frost, Michael Keaton's Jack Frost. So
yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yeah. So I want to say that this movie was probably it's another one of those childhood movies, and I think it just kind of works in a practical sense because the costume that they created for Jack, it was made by the Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So it's like you could tell that they put a lot of love and care into bringing this snowman to life. There is some CGI in that you can tell. Like I think like in like him going down the sled and having that big snowball fight. That's all CGI. You can really tell. But then it kind of like jumps around and you can kind of see how like real the snowman look is. And I think overall this was a good movie. Interesting fact, John Travolta was considered for the lead role of Jack Frost, so he would have been the voice in the other guy. But then and then another guy they had in talks was Billy Bob Thornton, which makes sense because isn't this like his whole band is like it's like a country kind of
Yeah,
harmonica band, you know?
yeah, something
Fucking
like that.
yeah. So I think that could have worked out. But yeah, it's. I think this all came in together, and it's an okay movie. It's not the worst thing you'll ever watch, but it's not the greatest thing you'll ever watch. I think it's such a simple, I guess, emotional movie. So
Yeah, it's a heartfelt movie.
the
When I was
C or B.
little, uh, I mean, the snowman's fucking creepy, so I'd probably put it in B.
Okay, B it
Would you
is.
agree? All right, cool.
Yeah, why not?
Alrighty. And I was thinking of Frosty the Snowman. My little rant back there. So fix that, Junior.
Oh, I just
Did you
realized.
hear?
Yeah, that's what you meant, right? Yeah, Frosty
Yeah.
the Snow.
All right. And next we got Home Alone 1. Another classic movie. Big family, mother, father, older siblings, all forgot their one of their younger siblings. So he's home alone. Got some robbers coming in, so now he's trying to defend himself and the home. Um, Rigs a bunch of booby traps and whatnot. So, uh, it's it's a fun movie, but I'd probably put it in B. Not gonna lie.
Really? This is a perfect
Yeah,
S tier movie. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This
S
is a
tier,
classic. It's a
S
classic.
tier. Just because it's a classic. I mean, I'm
What do
biased.
you what do you legitimately not like about this movie, and what stops it from being a great holiday Christmas movie? What stops it?
To me, it's a little cheesy. A little too much cheddar. So, uh, I don't know. I didn't really like it watching it when I was younger, but now that I'm older, it's funny. I get the story, the message behind it, if there's any. But I don't know. The most I probably put is A minus.
I think A. I think A is good enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's legendary, but it's a classic, so I'll put it in A.
Yeah. I
All
think
right.
this next one's probably going to get us in a lot of heat. I think this is too much of a. I think this is an overrated movie. But go ahead.
All right. Well, next one is Elf. We know Elf. Classic movie. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just about a elf, a human who got adopted by elves and Santa, or an elf family in the North Pole. Visits his real parents, his real father, and gets himself into mischief and just that culture shock from the North Pole, transitioning from the North Pole to the real world. Um, it's funny. I give it that. A little cringe, but I'd probably put it in A.
Yeah. So the director is the same director for Iron Man, John Favreau. So
What
it's
the fuck?
I know, crazy, right? It's good cast. Will Ferrell, James Caan, Zoe Deschanel. So Bob Newhart. A lot of the cast, they seem to be familiar with each other, and I don't know. I think one of my favorite things is kind of hearing what other people's opinions about Elf is nowadays, because uh, I think I had an old boss of mine who told me he thinks Elf is the most annoying like movie you could ever watch. And I can understand the sentiment now, because it's just, imagine some guy in a mall doing this shit like as a prank, you know? Wouldn't that fucking annoy you? Like I could see it nowadays. Like I could just already see it. Like, oh, this YouTuber who's like a YouTube prank YouTuber is like, oh, I'm gonna do everything that Will Ferrell from the movie Elf did, and then he just does it in a mall. Everybody is embarrassed or annoyed or just pretends like to deal with this shit. So it's like the shit he does in this movie is kind of fucking annoying. And the stuff that he does to kind of like ruin this guy's life just because he's his dad, like his biological father, it's just, I mean, there could have been better ways of really putting Elf in a good light. But overall the message, I understand the whole message, but I kind of get that now. Like, because watching this now, it's funny, but it's also kind of like, yeah, it is cringe. It is kind of annoying. Because it's like, man, they could have made this character much more likable. Like, there could have been one scene And there was a couple scenes that were like this where they could have made him very much like the embodiment of joy and happiness. I know he's not a real elf, and I know that's the whole point of the fucking movie, but you think they could have made him a lot more of an engaging character. And I think characters like Elf nowadays, where it's just like this adult man child who is acting like a child, it's just they're a dime a dozen at this point. You wouldn't be surprised to see a Christmas Family Guy Christmas episode where he pretends to be Elf and an inconvenience to everybody. So it's like I get it. There has to be some sentimentality for it, and it is considered a modern classic. I would put this no higher than maybe B.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, obviously, if it wasn't a holiday movie, and maybe if Will Ferrell wasn't the main actor, it would be as annoying as Dumb and Dumber. I'm not gonna lie, I dislike Dumb and Dumber because of how annoying it is, and you just explaining how Elf and the persona of Elf is annoying. It just immediately brought me to Dumb and Dumber, which is hilarious. But yeah, I'd probably put it in. I said A, you said B, so we'll bring it down to B.
Yeah. My favorite part of that movie is when he walks in on the girl and she's singing in the shower and he says, "Don't look at me." And he puts his
Covers
hands
his
on his face, runs into the wall like head on. That must have hurt. That'll always get me. That is
Yeah,
hilarious. That is funny in itself.
yeah. All right. Yeah, I think B is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So next is another classic. I keep saying that. There's another comedy. I enjoy this movie, and that is Christmas with the Cranks. Another comedy, another holiday slash Christmas movie. Um, Again, it's the humor in it is to me is funny. Um, this one is Tim Allen, right?
This is Tim Allen, not Tom Hanks,
Yeah,
and
Tom
Jamie Lee
Hanks.
Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, of course. Two amazing actresses, actress. So it does. I am a little biased, so I'm comedies get me. That's my weakness. Comedies and sci-fi gets to me, but this I'd probably put it in a solid A. What do you say?
Uh, I'd put this down at maybe C. I don't think it's the best.
C.
Jenner, I could watch all these other movies multiple times. Anything above B and A and S, I could watch multiple times. This, I could watch maybe once or twice. That's it. I just it has a very weird message. Like it basically says you're not allowed to have vacation during Christmas because it's all about family and consumerism and having Frosty the Snowman on your roof every fucking Christmas. I just think it really boils that shit down sometimes. It's annoying. It's just annoying sometimes when they do stuff like that. But I will give it points. It did bring back some of my favorite actors from Malcolm in the Middle, Jamie Lee Curtis, and
Yeah,
the what's the name of the little kid? Fuck's his name?
Dewey. I don't know.
Yeah, Dewey. They brought Dewey back. Woo! Love me some Dewey. But I think, and for some reason they decided to bring Dan Aykroyd, which is interesting. But yeah, it is fun. But I want to put it. I want to see it more as a C tier movie. It's fun. It's fun enough. Once you've watched it once, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I remember how funny and stupid this was. But I wouldn't say it's any better than what it was.
Wait, where do we put Elf?
We put Elf at B.
All
Did
right,
we?
if we put Elf in C, I'm willing to put Christmas with the Cranks in B.
All right, fair enough.
All right, bet. All right. Next, The Night Before. Ooh, with Seth Rogen and Anthony Mackie and who else is in there?
Anthony Mackie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Seth Rogen.
Ah, yes. All right, yeah, it's it's another funny Seth Rogen movie in my opinion. So, a lot of fun, lot of comedy, a lot of jokes, a lot of drugs. So I don't know. I probably put this in. I probably put
I'll say I'll say
in.
A. I like this movie.
Yeah, no, dude, your tears fucked up, dude. I probably put it in B.
No, no, no,
At
no.
at the
A,
highest
A.
B, the
Let me tell
lowest
you. Let me tell you. No, let me
I
tell
wouldn't
you.
mind putting it in D tier.
This has a lot more emotion. I think what the greatest thing that the Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen movies like to bring in is they know how to make good movies, good modern, R-rated adult comedy movies. I think they are the kings of doing it, and here's why. One, they don't pander. I mean, they don't pander to the degree where they feel like they need to pander. If the whole theming of this movie is about how people grow apart and relationships, I think they have a very good pulse on that stuff. And then the other thing is, you know, it's always they always do the rapid fire joke method where they'll just keep making joke after joke after joke, and eventually it's going to be funny. So I think that's another thing that they do really good. And I just think they just understand their audience. They understand the modern audience and of teenagers, young adults. I think they're just really good at reaching that demographic with their stories. So overall, I liked this movie because it did drive a good point, and I think I don't even think it's controversial. I just think it's straight up funny. It's adult humor at its best, and I think they don't they I think with like movies like what do you call it? What's the name of that movie? Sausage Party. They went overboard. This is more of like a super bad, but Christmas time, and I'm okay with that. I like it for what it is.
It's a little cheesy. It's a little, yeah. I mean, it's a little cheesy for me. I don't know. I mean, would you say A?
Hey, I'd say
You said A. I'll put it between A and B then.
okay,
Yeah,
fine,
we'll do
fair enough.
that because it's not his best work, I would say. All right, next we got, or the last entry we got is Bad Santa with my main man Billy Bob Thornton.
Yep,
Uh,
he didn't pick the Jack Frost gig. He picked this gig.
and my man Bernie Mac. So and Tony Cox, you get to throw him in there too. So, but yeah, I mean it's a nice story. It's a nice ending. Um, it's funny. Everything's kind of balanced, pretty balanced. So I'd probably put it in. I'd probably put it in low B.
Yeah, I'd probably put it B. I like this movie. I think it's earnest and it's crass humor. I think that it's one of those movies, and I need you to do a picture of this guy, Terry Zwigoff, the director. This guy looks like he sells drugs at like the street corner. This guy's this guy's a director. I can't believe they made this his profile picture on his wiki. And the first thing on his early life and education: Zwigoff was born in Appleton, Wisconsin, to a Jewish family of dairy farmers. And then one sentence: he was raised in Chicago. So that's what and then it's like you look at his picture like, oh, this kind of makes sense. He's a weird looking guy, and he's probably really experienced a lot in the Midwest. So crazy. But
Yeah, I'm not
I,
gonna lie. His picture on Wiki kind of looks like Hitler and Albert Einstein put together for some reason.
I
Not gonna
just
lie.
imagine like walking into a set and you see this guy's the director. You're just like, he's like, hey man, can you get me a couple cigarettes while you're out there?
Let me get a couple Bosco sticks and cigarettes.
Like, hey, all right, man, this is how you're gonna do it. So he does a lot of movies about misfits and people who just don't fit into society. So it's oh wow, and guess what? He turned down the offer to direct Elf in favor of Bad Santa. Wow, what a guy! What an
Yeah.
interesting guy. So yeah, definitely, you can definitely see the personality in this movie. I think it takes a lot of more liberties. You know, it's got cussing, sex, drugs. You know, it's about armed robbery at this point. So it's I think the earnestness and the performance of Billy Bob Thornton really elevates this kind of movie. It is a movie about people who don't get along or people who are down in their luck, and I think this really did. It wouldn't have worked without Billy Bob Thornton. I think it's not for everybody, but it definitely will. If you're into into those kinds of like adult humor comedies, kind of like The Night Before. This one's a lot more crass, a lot more nasty stuff. So
Yeah.
I will say that this will probably be like a B, a good B. I mean, maybe yeah. I think B is good enough for this.
Yeah, I probably put a low B, maybe between B and C, but they made a second one, didn't they?
Yeah, they made a second one. It's not as good as the first one, fortunately.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And of course, he didn't. Our buddy Terry Zwigoff decided not to do the sequel. So yeah.
Alrighty, and that wraps up on this two-part tier list. Excuse me. So
Yeah, take a look. We're gonna have all the movies on here. So, merry, happy, blah, 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 happy, merry, happy holidays.
happy, merry, fuck you. Have a good one.
All right, awesome.